Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We are here on the 4th of July breaking down the biggest stories in the sports world, and you can't teach that. Bada boom. Happy birthday, America. Grant, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Tanner. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday to the greatest country in the world, Tanner. I know you love this country so much. I know you've got a nice little speech coming for us to get us in the mood today. But I have to say, I don't want to put a damper on the day, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but I don't see how you can have the 4th of July and you can't have Joey Chestnut eating the hot dogs. That's a little bit of a shot in the heart.
It's a problem, but you know what? He had to get the bag. He had to get the, the plant-based bag, pretty much. And the meat eaters are keeping him out. It's sad. It's a sad day. They weren't even a competitor. It's a sad day, but you know what? This is the greatest country in the world. We are the back-to-back World War champions. We didn't take crap from England, and we don't take crap from anybody because we are America. And this is what Americans do. When we get knocked down, we stand back up and we make shit happen because we are the greatest country in the world. We're the Patriots. The Patriots. We literally, Paul Revere was coming, and we told the British to get out of our neighborhood because we were the best. And then the countries, everybody tried to take us down. They tried to take us down. The Iraqis, the Taliban, everybody tried to take us down. They took down the towers and we built them back up because we are America. And that is what Americans do. You cannot keep us down. We stand right back up and we succeed because we are the greatest country in the world. Put your hand over your heart and salute the flag, the Statue of Liberty, and everything that comes with it. Because in America, we just win. Just win, baby. That is what America is about. You cannot hold us down. And this is our birthday of the greatest country in the goddamn world. Brave. There we go. That was pretty good. That was on spot. I'm not Joey Diaz yet. Joey Diaz is great. But
that was pretty great. I won't lie. That was pretty great. Although it is kind of funny. We're talking about we never lose. And our last episode, we lost to the Japanese football team, as we discussed.
But those kids should be banished from the country. Honestly, like, again, I can look at that loss and I can say, well, if we would have sent the SEC, Japan they wouldn't have had a country anymore.
It would have started a new world war.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you send a couple kids, send Quinn Ewers over there and a couple of his offensive linemen, see what happens. Honestly, though, still a disgrace because like Japanese guys are like 5'7", 100 and nothing pounds, and like all the big ones are sumo wrestling, and we still lost.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but we are going to talk about a lot on today's show. It is the 4th of July, and seriously, everybody, hope you have a great 4th of July. I've been trying to figure out what to do tonight. Do you have plans? Are you going to see fireworks, anything like that?
Yeah, I'm going to see the fireworks in Boston, and they start at 10:30 at night, and that's insanity. 10:30 at night is when they start, but it's like the big like they do the show on NBC or ABC, whoever the hell gets it. Like, this is Boston's day. Paul Revere's walking in the streets right now. No joke.
So I got invited. My friends, I will say, some of my friends are tough to make plans with, and got a text probably about 4 or 5 days ago, and it was, does anybody want to go see the fireworks in DC? And first of all, like, I'm not a huge fireworks guy, but if it was a good thing, if it was a good plan to go out with friends, whatever, I would have agreed to it, right? But their plan was the fireworks start, I believe, at 9. They were thinking of getting there at 7:30, putting a blanket out and having a picnic. I said, listen here. I don't know if you know this. There's going to be about 750,000. There's an average of 700,000 people that go to DC to watch the fireworks show. If you're not there by 10 in the morning, okay, you're probably not even going to get a standing spot anywhere in the area. You're going to be watching the fireworks from across the Potomac River. You're going to be in Baltimore trying to watch the fireworks. As far as actually getting a blanket down and having a picnic, that's not going to happen. How are you going to get there? Where are you going to park the car? I don't know. You're going to ride the metro with the entire DMV flooding it? I don't think so either. So that I was very turned off by the lack of planning going into it. And also, it's going to be like 95 degrees. I don't want to go stand with 700,000 people in 95 degrees, have a real feel of like 120 just to watch some fireworks that I could watch from my house.
And you still see them. Like you could be across the Potomac River. Is that the one George Washington crossed? No, he crossed the Delaware.
Yeah.
America. But you literally can see the fireworks. Like the fireworks, they shoot them up high, guys. They shoot them up really high. You can see them from a distance. And they're the same thing every time. Like no fireworks show I've watched is like, wow, that's like the coolest fireworks show. Because they're all kind of the same, except some have more and some have less.
You know what's actually really cool? Have you ever seen a drone show?
I've seen clips of a drone show. I've never actually seen a drone show.
I think it might have been at the Tokyo Olympics, the opening ceremony. I could be wrong, but there was some huge drone ceremony drone show that I saw, and that was pretty awesome. Like that was cooler than fireworks to me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so before we get into the show, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You guys all hated the Bronny clip, so we're going to talk about Bronny once again to get you going. Like, share, do it all. Let's take this thing to the moon, guys. We got a lot to talk about today, And we're going to start with Bronny James, Grant, because Bronny James, Rich Paul comes out and says, we're not taking a two-way contract. We're big time. We're big ballers. We're playing in the NBA. And now the rumor is that they're going to send Bronny down after the first week of the season, play majority of his time in the G League, which is probably the smart decision for his development because he needs to play. He hasn't played a lot of high-level basketball, barely played at USC. Got to get the reps in there. So I don't see this as a bad thing, but how do you take it?
No, I don't see this as a bad thing either. I am a little confused, though, because as much as I like to think that I know about basketball, like I can break down the tax structures and the CBA and everything for you, but if Bronny has a fully guaranteed, I don't think it's fully guaranteed, but he has a guaranteed NBA contract, I didn't know that he could play in the G League. I thought you needed to be on either a G League contract or a two-way contract to be able to play in the G League, but I guess that isn't the case.
Well, let's look it up. Can you play in G League with a guaranteed NBA contract? I'm sure. I mean, like you can play in minors, I guess, with a pro contract, right? All right, here we go. An NBA team can assign a player from its big league roster to its G League affiliate. The player under contract with the assigning NBA team can only be recalled by that team. So maybe there's only one person that gets that. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought that was the whole point of the two-way contracts, so that you could have players like, if you've got a lot of injuries on your NBA team, well, you call them up there, or if they're just playing well, you call them up, and then if you want them to go get experience, you send them back down.
You get one. So here's how it works. Assignees. An NBA team can assign a player from its big league roster to its G League affiliate. So let's be real. I don't want to take this away from Bronny. Bronny would be a two-way contract guy if it wasn't for his dad. So he's getting the NBA assignee. Then there's two-way players and there's draft right players. So those are the three tiers. So they get one guy to be the assignment. He'll be the assignment.
Okay. That makes sense. I saw a lot of people, I don't know if you saw this, I saw a lot of people complaining that Bronny did get that contract. It was 4 years, 7-point-something million guaranteed with a team option after 3 years. And everybody was complaining because the 55th pick in last year's draft, Isaiah Wong, who you'll probably remember from Miami, I think he's making like $600,000 on his contract. Here's the thing, guys. Trace Jackson Davis, who was the 57th pick last year, the Warriors center from Indiana, he's on 4 years, $7 million, basically the same exact contract as Bronny. So I know it's very much low-hanging fruit to try to pick fights with Bronny. The nepotism thing, we have the same standpoint, but a lot of people like to say, well, he only got that job because of his dad. And then it's very easy to say, well, guess what? The Lakers owner literally only got the team because her dad owned the team. Like, these arguments exist everywhere. It's just important to understand that, Bronny, it's easy to hate on him because his dad is LeBron James, but he's not doing anything unprecedented by any stretch. He's just trying to go about his career.
He's just out here lying at intro press conferences. The entire Lakers organization was lying at the intro press conferences. Big time. JJ Redick.
You mean the part where he said he never thought about playing with his dad?
Yeah, never thought about playing with his dad. Then they asked him, they said, what's it been like with your being around your dad in the locker room? How's that going to make you a better NBA player? He's like, I really haven't been around my dad in the locker room. I've been doing my own basketball stuff. I'm not saying that's not true, but you've been in a locker room with your dad a lot over your life. You can come up with an answer that you've been in. Let's put it this way. 99% of the people that just got drafted, you've been in an NBA locker room more than they have. So like give a better answer than that. JJ Redick said Bronny deserved it. I'm not denying Bronny deserved it, but like I don't know how you
had his
phrase it
foot in the
right way.
door more than anyone else did.
Yeah, like do the Lakers draft Bronny James without LeBron James there? That is the question. I would tend to think no. I would tend to think LeBron or Bronny James wouldn't have come out if it wasn't for LeBron. That's my take. And I think that's what most people think.
Yeah, I think that is probably the case. I'm trying not to make these, very harsh judgments, but I think you're probably right. The way I think I said it on the last show was, is Bronny a top 55 prospect as his draft status suggests? Maybe not. And if you look at it historically, as far as his college numbers, he's one of like the 3 least productive players ever. I made the argument he wasn't going to be playing many minutes because of his whole cardiac arrest situation. But is Bronny like a top 75, top 80 prospect? You definitely make the argument. And then those guys, they usually end up in the G League or on a 2-way contract. So yeah, he was helped slightly, but at the end of the day, he's earned a shot in some capacity.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if I was in this situation, I don't know how I would handle it because it's very difficult. But like, I think it's almost better to say, hey, there's a lot of pressure. LeBron James is my dad. Like I'm never going to live up to LeBron James. It's going to be very difficult to do that. That's my goals. That's my aspirations. But I'm just here to play basketball. Like I'm just grateful for the opportunity, blah, blah, blah. I think there's so many different ways you can handle it. And I think pushing away like the LeBron James is my dad thing, I don't know if that's the best way to go about it.
Well, so I guess kind of what you're getting at is being humble through it all. And not that Bronny hasn't been humble.
No,
I think
he hasn't been humble.
Yeah. But I remember during his the first time he ever gave a public interview, because he for being LeBron's kid and having a Twitch stream and a college athlete, he's been very out of the spotlight. He doesn't give interviews or anything like that. In his first press conference at the combine when they were doing the workouts and everything, they asked him what type of player he wanted to be, and he said, "I'd like to be someone like a Derek White or a Davion Mitchell." Davion Mitchell couldn't even get on the court in the playoffs. Derek White is, the best role player in the league right now, but even still, he is still a role player. So he understands he's not going in there trying to be his dad, who pretty much everybody will tell you is one of the 2 best basketball players ever. He does have that sort of understanding within himself. And now it's just, developing into the best player that he can be.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Ready to talk about the WNBA? The W?
Let's do it. Talk about the W.
All right. Well, I actually think this All-Star Game format is going to be the coolest thing ever. But we can talk about that in a minute. I guess we should probably talk about the votes. The votes. If you say Caitlin Clark does not carry the WNBA, you are lying. You need to go look in the mirror. You need to be thrown in jail if you say that Caitlin Clark is not carrying the WNBA. She might not have the best stats, whatever. She might not have the best field goal percentage. She might turn the ball over a lot, which she does. But when it comes down to the fan vote, she got all the fan votes. Pretty much every single fan vote possible, Caitlin Clark got. So I don't want to sit here and hear one more person say Caitlin Clark isn't carrying this league. She is the meal ticket for the WNBA. And she brought all the votes to everybody else.
Yeah, she is. And, Tanner and I have been adamant in this. We're not saying there aren't other great players in the league. And we're not saying there aren't other marketable players in the league. But the simple fact is, you could see it from starting about her junior year in college. The women's college basketball ratings and viewership went through the roof. They break all the records her senior year. You break sports betting records. The WNBA starts to break viewership records. And with these all-star numbers, Tanner, to dive into just how much Caitlin Clark is the clear, the guy, that's the term we use, even though obviously she's not a guy, but she is the guy in the WNBA right now. The top vote getter in last year's WNBA All-Star Game, Ajay Wilson, 96,000 votes. This year, Caitlin Clark, 700,000 votes. So it's over a 700% increase on last year's top vote getter. And look at who's number 2, Aaliyah Boston, her teammate. And Aaliyah Boston's a good player. She's not the second best player in the WNBA, but she got 620,000 votes. And then Ajay Wilson, who I said last year, top vote getter with 96,000, she got 607,000. So yes, like people are still paying attention to these players that aren't Caitlin Clark. that Caitlin Clark's impact is the reason this league is growing so quickly.
That's why you should have put her on the U.S. team. Like, it should have just been no excuse. Play 5 minutes a night. But, like, she would have generated – nobody's going to care about the U.S. women's team now without – there's so many other things going on without her there. And I think, going off what you said, Grant, there are so many marketable players in this league. We're not going to lie. There are a lot of marketable players. However, the golden ticket of marketing – and I don't know why it's Caitlin Clark. I don't know. It could have been any of these other girls over the course of history, but she's the chosen one. I'm not sitting here and saying Caitlin Clark's the best player in the WNBA. I don't think she'll ever be the best pure player in the WNBA all around. But she is the most marketable player. And if you disagree with that, like Diana Taurasi the other night, this woman, they asked her, what's it going to be like playing against Caitlin Clark? Going to be cool. Caitlin Clark gives this like in-depth answer. You can tell Diana Taurasi got a stick up her ass.
She does. She absolutely does. And to your point, you remember when I was asking you the question about the 16-year-old who had a chance to go to the Olympics for the USA? So they chose him. He's going to be running at the Olympics. And it's not exactly the same thing as Caitlin Clark, but it's the same in the sense that you have this opportunity to do something that is inherently good for the sport. You can't argue that it will help your sport in some capacity. For this 16-year-old who's going to be running track and field, it's more about his personal development. And with Caitlin Clark, it's about the league development. But either way, you had a chance where, first of all, you could make this decision. And second of all, it made sense. Like this kid they chose, he's going to be running on a relay with 4 people. He finished 6th at the trials. He was right there. He proved himself. He was right there with them. We said, was Caitlin Clark one of the 12 best players in the WNBA? Maybe not. But is she 13? Is she 14, 15? Probably. And if she's that close, knowing the impact you can have on her development and on the sport's development, it was just a mistake not to put her there.
Definitely. Now let's talk about this All-Star Game format. Grant, this is going to be really cool as a fan to watch Team USA play the WNBA secondary players. But it's also, this is probably the worst decision possible for the WNBA, in my opinion, or for Team USA, I should say. You're going to get the WNBA All-Stars going all out trying to take their heads off. You're going to get Team USA coming out there in a preparation game, an exhibition game. It really doesn't matter for them. It's probably going to matter more for those team WNBA snubs. So if WNBA beats the US team, if they beat them, you were never going to hear the end of them not putting Caitlin Clark on the team, especially if Caitlin Clark delivers in that game. You're also going to hear a lot of nobody cares about the league besides Caitlin Clark talk, especially if they can win. On the flip side, if the US team wins, it's great, but I think there's a lot more risk here for them playing this game just because Caitlin Clark's going 100% here. She's off for a week or 2 weeks, whatever it is. The USA team, I can't say they're going to do that.
So the word that I was going to use, which I'm glad you used, is snub here, because you look at the players like Caitlin Clark, and maybe she doesn't feel snubbed because she also seems to be very humble. Maybe she recognizes she's a rookie, whatever. But you've got Caitlin Clark. You've got Arika Ogunbowale, who's a very good player. You go look at this roster. There are players who were right there in contention to make Team USA, as you said. And maybe this is the WNBA's, the problems the NBA has had with trying to make the All-Star Game competitive. Maybe this is the WNBA's solution, because maybe they're thinking the national team will know they don't want to get embarrassed by essentially the JV team, the team that didn't get picked. So that's going to make them go hard in this game. But I'm with you. There's so little to gain here, in my opinion, and so much to lose, because this would be like the Dream Team. I don't know if you've heard this story, but when the Dream Team was first assembled, they had a scrimmage against the top college prospects, basically. I think Chris Webber was on that team, if I'm not mistaken, and the college team won. The college team beat the Dream Team. Imagine if you had aired that for the world to see. And of course, we know what the Dream Team went on to be, but it doesn't change the fact that would have been a horrible look if it's what happened, and you're putting the national team in a position for it to happen right here.
Yeah, and the U.S. national team is going to go win the gold medal. There's no doubt about it. I think the secondary B team could probably go win the gold medal. This is the second best players in the WNBA. But if you're looking at the rosters here, and again, I'm not the biggest WNBA fiend, but if you put these two next to each other, the WNBA team can beat the US team on any given night. There's no doubt about it. There's competitive players. It comes down to making and missing shots, and this team's just as good. You see some of these 10-point underdogs winning outright, 12, 15-point underdogs winning outright in the WNBA on any given night. So if that can happen with those same players, this can happen in this game. So not a lot to gain for Team USA. I think a lot more to lose, because even if they lost this game and they went on to win the gold medal, it's going to be, well, you still didn't beat the WNBA JVs.
Yeah, I agree with you. It just seems silly. I don't like the decisions they're making over there.
I like it as a fan. I should say that. Like, I'm going to be watching this game because I want to see Caitlin Clark shove it up the U.S. ass. You know, like, I'm not rooting for Team USA. I'm rooting for WNBA here.
I wonder how personally Caitlin Clark takes this. I think that's also a big part in the story in this one. Like, does Caitlin Clark come out looking to kill, or is she treating it like an all-star game as well? Is she playing her 10 minutes and leaving?
If Caitlin Clark wants her brand to grow 10 times more, it's to come out and try to kill these girls. If she comes out with like talking trash, talking smack, making shots, like, it's just, the brand's just going to go up even more.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Grant. Well, we can talk about Triple Crown a little bit now. Big Triple Crown time. Aaron Judge leads the league in home runs, RBIs, and batting average. It has not been done since 2012 when Miguel Cabrera did it for the Tigers. And then you have to go all the way back to the 60s with Carly Yastrzemski, Frank Robinson, and then the 50s with Mickey Mantle. So this would be unprecedented. DraftKings just put some lines up. I think he's 9-1 to do it. It's minus 500 to not do it. So would you take the yes side of this, and why?
For 9-1, I'm taking the yes side. Now it's gonna be hard, obviously, but I mean he's on a historic pace, and it's not like we don't think Aaron Judge can play at or near a historic rate. Like, that's what you expect from this guy. That's why he gets the money he does. That's why he's received the accolades that he has. If you want to look at some of the numbers, I mean, the only one that he isn't leading in right now is batting average. He's hitting 318. Otani's hitting 319. I would think that would be where he runs into the most trouble, just because a guy like, Luis Arias, who hits nothing but singles, could beat you in batting average. And if you're Judge, you're swinging for the fences every time. But for 9-1, I would take that. I would definitely hop on that bet.
And what's crazy when you look at like his splits from every month: March batting 125, April batting 220, May he batted 361. So like May's when he really kicked it off, and then June and July he's been 409, 429. So like he started the season really bad. We were talking about how he couldn't hit the baseball at all, and now he's just doing that every single night, night in, night out. So it's been fun to watch. The Yankees still will probably blow the division to the Baltimore Orioles this year, though. That's what I'm thinking, because the books have the Yankees at like minus 200 to win the AL East. At least they were a couple days ago. Baltimore was one game behind a couple days ago, and they were like plus 200. So there's too much respect for the New York Yankees right now.
I will say Otani's heating up. I don't know how much everybody out there is paying attention, because Otani similarly did not have a great start to the year. He had like 3 or 4 home runs after like a month and a half or so. He was not hitting the ball very well, but he's up to like 10 homers in his last 15 games, and he looks comfortable. He's hitting 319, 27 home runs. He's second in OPS, obviously, to Judge. He's coming alive as well.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, Judge, if you just bet Judge home run and Shohei home run like any given night, you're in a good position. They're usually like plus 180, plus 170 to hit home runs every night, which is kind of wild. It's like they're turning into the Christian McCaffrey of anytime touchdowns.
That's a funny comparison. Yeah, I got Otani at plus 210 for a home run the other day, and I saw it creep over that plus 200 barrier. I said, yeah, I got to take this. And lo and behold, he hit a home run.
Yeah, speaking of Christian McCaffrey, I saw a meme the other day. It was like a swipe on TikTok, and the first was like a kid like looking up in the mirror with like a football outfit on. It's like, I'm gonna play pro football. All right, little kid. Then it swiped to like a degenerate gambler. It was like 2014. I'm gonna play in the NFL. Swipe to a degenerate gambler. 2024. It's like Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown. He's sitting on the couch bed. So
Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown last year was wild. It was like minus 380 by the end of the year.
Yeah, you couldn't bet it. Like, it was to a point where you couldn't play it one bit. It's going to continue to be that. So I think, I don't know if DraftKings has anytime touchdowns up yet, but they had them up for the opening game. Um, I don't know if FanDuel did either yet, but I know they were one of the first. Oh, also, Grant, you see VSiN. VSiN's getting sold back to Brett Musburger potentially. Did you see that press release?
I did not see that. No.
For like $1 on the spot.
Really? Another Dave Portnoy situation?
That was the comparison in the article. Okay,
Yeah.
touchdowns. Let's see. Only have touchdowns for that opening game, but we're going to see Christian McCaffrey at like minus. He's probably going to open minus 150 to score, I think, in that first game, and it's going to get hammered up to like minus 200.
So this is totally random. I wrote an article about long shot award winners and the possibilities. And again, it was all long shots. Like the shortest one I had was plus 3,000. I found a bet for plus 15,000 that I really like. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
So again, plus 15,000. It's got like a 1% chance to hit. Not telling anybody to put their life savings on it. But you said Christian McCaffrey, and it made me think of this. You're going to react a little, but hear me out. Devon Achane to win Offensive Player of the Year for plus 15,000. Okay, let me walk you through it. He played 11 games last year. In 2 of those, he only got 1 carry. So we're gonna take those out. In the 9 games he played, he was on pace to run for 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns, and he was on pace to catch 380 yards for 6 touchdowns. So altogether, that's 1,900 yards, 21 touchdowns for a Dolphins team that has a good chance to win the AFC East. Raheem Mostert's the starter, but he's now 32. Tyreek is gonna start slowing down a little bit. He's now 30 years old. Only been 3 of those guys in NFL history to lead the league in receiving. And Achane was awesome last year. Averaged like 7.8 yards per carry. What do you think?
I mean, you're making a compelling case for it. It's hard when you're talking offensive player of the year because like Tyreek, you're getting Tyreek and CMC for like 8-1 and 9-1. Like that's decent value. And then you got CD. You got Chase, Jefferson. Let me just read some of the names on here.
Again, it's meant to be a long shot. Let's keep that in mind.
What'd you get him for? 15
plus
to 1?
15,000.
So you got 150 to 1. I'm seeing 5,000 on FanDuel. Where'd you find it?
I think it was FanDuel when I got it a couple of weeks ago. I know DraftKings because I was on VSiN, which you were just talking about it. I was on VSiN earlier this week, and they had it at plus 8,000. So I think it's falling already.
Yeah, I mean 50 to 1 still that's a good bet. I mean you could put $10 on that wins 500. $100 wins 5,000. So that's a decent bet there. I mean, I think he could definitely do it. You got a lot of studs in front of him. And that's the thing. The problem is you got a lot of studs that have the name. Now, a lot of these times, these awards do come down to the name, right? Like you're going to beat out every single top tier running back in the National Football League. It's going to be hard, but I like it. I like the compelling case, Grant.
Thank you. We got anything else we want to talk about here?
No, I think we're wrapping it up.
Well, I mean, 4th of July. Happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday, America. Grant, take us out of here.
Guys, that's going to do it for this special holiday episode of Ride the Line. Make sure that you press that subscribe button. Also hit the like button as well. Oh, drop some comments. Let us know, what are you going to do now that Joey Chestnut's not at the actual hot dog eating contest? Do you even care? Or do you know who's going to win? Are you going to be watching it? Let us know. Let us know your thoughts and basically just complain that we don't get to watch Joey Chestnut today. That's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line, guys. We will catch you all on the next episode on next Monday.